Hi everyone, Ranger Stu here. I hope you're all staying safe and doing well. As you would have seen if you saw my blog this week, there has been a change in schedule. So, instead of habitats, we are learning about eggs. Yeah! Now, this is a very large egg. You'll see how big it is because just before I decided to film this, I thought I'd get a chicken's egg. So, here you can see a chicken's egg here and an emu egg. Now, this emu egg, you see the size difference, crazy, hey? This emu egg is not the colour it should be, okay? This emu egg is probably about 15 years old. When I was a volunteer zookeeper at another zoo, I was very lucky to be in on the day when the emu laid the egg, and they did not want the emu to hatch it because there was just too many baby emus around, and so they actually blew the egg. So what they've done is they put a little hole in the end, and you can do this with chicken's eggs, guys. You can actually put a hole in the end of a chicken's egg, and they just blow out the yolk, and then or shake out the yolk, and then that way you've got the egg as a whole. So this has been on my shelf in my bedroom. I have like a little zoo library, and it's got lots of really cool zoo books on there, and amongst that I've got some random fun things that I've collected in my life, including an emu egg. So this is normally really dark green, okay, so an emu egg would normally be really dark green, but over time it's just become a little bit bleached, you see, on the end where it's caught a bit of sun as well. So I'm not here just to talk about my emu egg. What I am here to talk about is this week's task. So this week's task was about eggs, and I kind of threw it out there because it's Easter coming up, and obviously it is the Easter holidays, and so would normally be at school doing tasks, so I thought I'd do a fun thing, and that is I gave you 6 eggs, I guess. It's sort of like templates of eggs, and you were to draw pictures of animals that lay eggs and label them as to what animal they are and what group they're from. So to help you out, I thought I would do a video all about eggs. And when you think of an egg, what animal lays an egg? What animal lays an egg? Can you think one? I bet it was a bird. I bet you thought of a bird, didn't you? So even when I think of an animal laying an egg, it's usually a bird. Most likely, a chicken. However, there are loads of animals that lay eggs, and we are going to find out which ones lay eggs and a little bit more about the egg that they lay now. So here we are at the fish tank at Cedars Nature Centre. That fish there is a Bosmer's rainbow fish, and it's a really popular fish tank. You can see down here we've got some rummy-nosed tetras, and they are really cool. They're red noses and stripy zebra tails. But 97% of fish, guys, lay eggs which develop outside the body, and only about 3% of fish give birth to live babies. And you can see here, this is a bristlenose catfish. It does lay eggs, and that's the male. He's called Tom, and he actually looks after the eggs and will help protect the eggs until they hatch, which is really cool. But if you want to know what the most eggs laid by any fish is, it is the sunfish, and that lays 300 million tiny eggs. So this fish here is called a Corydoras catfish, and they do not look after their eggs, they just lay them and leave them babies to it. Do we know what a baby fish is called, by the way, guys? We call baby fish fry, little fish fry. And there's the little rainbow fish again coming out. In a second, guys, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about amphibians as well. So here's a generic frog, guys. We don't have any amphibians here at Cedars Nature Centre, so I'm using this instead. But amphibians lay their eggs in water. At least most amphibians lay their eggs in water, as some amphibians give birth to live young, and they essentially look like just little adults, okay? However, most amphibians' eggs are laid into water, and they look like this. Frog spawn, yay! So as you can see, amphibians' eggs don't have a shell, and they're laid in water to keep them from drying out. They go through a really interesting life cycle. amphibians do, and I'm sure in school you'd have learned all about life cycles and stuff like that. So this is frog spawn, and the tiny little embryos in those bits of jelly grow into tadpoles, yeah! And so I'm going to bring up a little frog life cycle for you, which will tell you all about tadpoles and how they grow into a frog. So here's a little life cycle for you guys. At the bottom right hand corner there, you've got some tadpoles. They're getting bigger and bigger, and they grow their back legs first, and then they grow their front legs, and essentially they're just like a little frog at that stage, a froglet, and their tail will then get absorbed and absorbed more and more into the body until they no longer have a tail and they just look like a tiny frog. So this is an amphibian, and as we found out, amphibians lay their eggs in water. Amphibians also have wet, smooth skin, okay? But now we're going to meet the reptiles, and reptiles lay their eggs on land, and they have dry, scaly skin. Here are two of our royal pythons, and most reptiles lay eggs like our pythons do each year. Some reptiles though, like skinks, which are a type of lizard, and boas, which are a type of snake, give birth to live young. When most reptiles lay their eggs, they dig a little sort of dip in the ground, lay their eggs, dig the dirt back over them, and leave them to incubate. So here are our pancake tortoises, and I'm going to show you their egg, which is in our incubator right now. This is our incubator. When our reptiles lay eggs, like the pancake tortoises, they have to be incubated or the adults would end up digging them up again. So you can see that it's set to 30 degrees centigrade, and this is the perfect temperature for this little baby tortoise in there to grow in. We check on the egg twice a week. We open this incubator up and just make sure that the egg's doing well and it's not got any mold on it or anything like that. So we are going to open it up, and I'll show you it a little bit closer. Let's have a look. It's quite empty in here at the moment because it's just one egg, but we hope our royal pythons will also be laying eggs soon, and then it can fill up a bit more, the incubator. So pancake tortoises lay one egg at a time, and it's a large egg compared to mum. It's a massive egg, and it takes about 6 months for a pancake tortoise egg to hatch. So we have a long wait ahead, guys. I'm going to pop this back, and we can close the door, and we will move on to our next group of animals, the birds. So unfortunately I don't have any videos of our barn owls on eggs, because when birds are on their eggs, especially birds of prey like barn owls, they are extremely aggressive and they love nothing more than trying to attack you if you try and even get a glimpse of their egg. So instead I thought you'd all appreciate a lovely slow-mo of one of our barn owls flying. She'll turn around and fly back in a moment. And birds have evolved from dinosaurs, so they're next on our list. And every single bird on Earth lays eggs. Every single bird lays eggs. She's beautiful, hey guys? So birds lay eggs that have hard shells, and chicks hatch from these hard shells using this really cool thing. You see that little bump on the beak? I've got an arrow there. It's called an egg tooth. And they use that to break out the shell. It takes them hours or maybe even a day, but they wear away at the shell until they can break out. How cool is that? So once they've hatched out of their egg, some chicks look like this, all pink and helpless, and they have to be fed by their parents, or they look like this. So this is a duckling, and some chicks, like ducklings or chickens, hatch out with this big sort of fluffy, downy, feathery mass of fluff, and they are then ready to go out into the world and feed by themselves. So they just follow mum around and feed on anything that she eats. How cool is that, hey? So as we found out, birds evolved from dinosaurs, which are reptiles, and reptiles lay eggs, birds lay eggs. We aren't going to talk about birds anymore. We're going to talk about mammals. And mammals didn't evolve from birds, they also evolved from reptiles. So we're going to find out about a really curious group of animals called monotremes. With mammals, it's really easy, as apart from the Easter Bunny, there are only 5 mammals that lay eggs, and those are the duck-billed platypus and 4 species of echidna. Okay, so what's an echidna? If you see the top right and the bottom, those big spiky things with long noses, those are echidnas, really cool animals. And at the top left, that is a duck-billed platypus. And so they have a really special name called monotremes, and it just means that they are egg-laying mammals. And they lay a soft egg that only takes about 10 days to hatch. Once that baby hatches out, they're called puggles. Once they hatch out, the little puggles, then they drink milk, just like all mammals. So I hope you enjoyed that excellent video there, guys. Hopefully you learned a bit more about eggs and which animals lay them. And I hope you have a lovely Easter holidays. And hopefully you can replace a couple of these with a couple of these. Enjoy!